Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to ACP Today. My name is Genie Godula and I'm here with the pastor of the American Church, Scott Herr. Hi Scott.
Hi Jeannie, how are you?
Such a full and diverse show we have for everybody
It's going to be great tonight.
Yeah, we got everything from the Pope to paintings to posting a very unique resume online. All of
Excellent.
That's coming up. Peter Bannister is here to be filling us in on what exactly will be going on at the conclave to elect the next Pope of the Catholic Church. We'll be talking to ACP's resident artist, Monica Bassett, and we'll get the inside scoop on just how Frenchman Philippe Dubost created what could be the most famous job resume in history. There's a lot coming up.
It's a lot.
All right, let's start. If you have ever been inside the ACP, you might have noticed as you're going into the church on your left of the sanctuary, there's a giant painting. It's incredible. It's a big, almost like a Celtic cross, a big cross with a circle around it. It's the work of ACP member and artist Monica Bassett, an award-winning artist who's had her work on display in France, China, and the U.S. Just given the first ever Paint with the Spirit workshop at the ACP, and she's here with us tonight, along with her husband who helped work on that painting. Hi Monica, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, well, let's start with this incredible painting that you did with your husband Lionel. Tell us about that. Where did the inspiration for that come from?
Well, actually, I can't really take credit for that painting because it really was his project, and he asked me to work on it with him, so I was thrilled to do that with him. He actually had this idea. His project is what is our imprint on the world, and so he uses tires actually. He made this cross, but the interesting thing about this painting is that at the beginning it was supposed to be a crossroads, so it wasn't supposed to be a cross.
Like an historical, like we've come to a historical crossroads, right?
Exactly. And the idea was, are we going towards spirituality or towards consumption, in fact? Because it's actually a big piece that would be part of a installation.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more than that. But the cross itself is amazing. And he did the tire tracks, and I did the circle, the Celtic part, that made it into a Celtic cross, in fact.
No, it's really, really great. So painting obviously is something that's part of your life. You're an artist and you've had your stuff shown all over the world. Would you say when you paint, is it always a spiritual thing for you? Yes? No?
For me it is. It didn't start that way. I think I started really wanting to express myself, but wanting to learn techniques. And so I did take classes from professors who had studied at the Beaux-Arts. And so after I learned techniques, I wanted to kind of get away from painting something that was maybe a still life or a landscape, and really kind of go deeper into myself, and that's where this spiritual connection really was made for me.
Let's talk a bit more about what exactly your art looks like. I know it's hard sometimes for the artist to describe it himself or herself, so I'm going to turn to Scott. I know you're a fan of Monica's work. Scott, tell us a little bit, just maybe about one painting or two paintings of Monica's that you've seen, what they look like and what impression they had on you.
Well, there's three different styles I've seen that she's done. More classical watercolors, which are absolutely beautiful. They're like still lifes. I mean, they're depicting a scene, like a bedroom or a sunflower or something. And then I've also seen her sort of emerge with more a free spirit, as she would, I think, describe it, where the spirit just sort of moves through her and lets a painting emerge from her work. And those are really beautiful colors, just different colors, and they tend to have what are, I think, birch trees. They look like birch trees. Sometimes it looks like bamboo, even. And those tree trunks are depicting people's lives, and that they're on a journey. They can be headed this way, they can head that way, they can be broken. I mean, the beautiful stories are behind those paintings. And then most recently, she had some of her work exhibited at the Grand Palais with some other, I think, Parisian artists. And this was just brilliant splashes of color, and she was using big, I don't know if it was
big spatulas.
Big spatula.
I started using palette knives, and then they got to huge spatulas that really can express my movement and color and layer and do lots of layers. So it becomes a really physical way of painting, because when I do these big paintings, it's really spreading the thick paint across the canvas, and then adding more layers on top of that, and it just.
How big are we talking about when you're talking about big?
Oh.
Big as 2 by 4 meters. I mean,
2 meters by 4 meters, 2 meters by 2 meters. It still is a really nice size. But
so we're talking lots of paint.
Yeah. Lots of paint, lots of canvas. Well, I paint actually on the floor, so on my knees. You know, just it's a lot of movement, and then I stretch it afterwards. So.
So as Scott mentioned, you had your work shown at the Grand Palais for several years. The Grand Palais is such a reference here in France. What were your feelings, or what are your feelings still now when you have your work exposed there at the Grand Palais?
Oh, I just feel so grateful, so lucky, so blessed, and sometimes I forget. And people that I when I'm there, I try to stay there as long as I can and talk to people that pass and see my work and explain it and things like that. And some people just say, "Wow, you should just be so lucky. You're living your dream." And I think that's what God asks us to do, because we want to be authentic. We want to live life on purpose, and we want to share our gifts with and be of service to others. And I think that I do that. I hope to do that. I hope I do that through my painting.
Then
To
Monica,
inspire people.
you do that not only through your painting, but also through your contributions to the ACP. You just gave a workshop on Saturday, Paint with the Spirit. Tell us a bit about what that was and how it went.
Well, it kind of came out of the blue, because a friend of mine said, you should really teach. And I said, I don't teach. I my expression is through my paintings. And then I thought, and this is really the Spirit working through me, because out of the blue I thought, 2013 came around, and I thought, I really do have to get out of my studio. I need to connect with more people. How can I do that? And I called Camilla from the church, and I said, I don't know. I threw that idea out to her, and I said, I would love to do a painting class in English. What do you think? And she said, that's a great idea. You've got to do it. And so it kind of unfolded just by, almost by magic. And I thought, well, what could I do? Well, I could share my story with people, which is painting with the Spirit, being a channel, trying to just be authentic. Not necessarily, you don't need to really have technique to do that. You can just be bold and let that color come through, let the movement come through. And so I did that class on Saturday, and I had 10 people that participated, and it was just incredible. I feel like I gave to them, but they give so much back to me, because through their work, they really understood what I was talking about.
Just curious, did you, I guess you saw all the paintings that they did, but are they willing to share some of their work? Will anybody else see some of the paintings that came out of that session? I'm just curious.
Oh, well, I put the paintings on Facebook.
Oh, I haven't been on Facebook. Okay,
No, but
Dad, Scott.
no. But what was interesting was we did kind of a debriefing session after everyone painted, and what was really incredible, and it's what I know from my own painting, is what's happening in our lives really comes out through our painting. Wherever we are on our path, it comes out. And there was one person that did a beautiful painting in blues and purples, and she said, here I am, here, do you see this boat, this small tiny boat? That's where I am, and I'm being kind of moved around, and my life is so turbulent right now, and there's this dark part here, and it's coming down, and so this is kind of painful, but I have a sun here, and the sun is really bright, but you see there's not enough rays coming down towards me, and I hope that changes. And so it was a way that she was able to express what's going on in her life, and I just thought it was so beautiful.
Monica, you talk about this expression of what's going on in your life through your work, and Scott was showing us a painting just a few minutes ago that had been published in The Spire, the ACP's magazine, The Spire, of this great sort of surreal painting where you're hanging from wires, it looks like you're flying through the air, and you're painting on this canvas that also is floating in midair. And I remember reading in the article, you said something about how that experience was such an analogy for what you were living at the time. Tell us a bit about that in a few words.
Right. Well, we decided, we kind of dreamed have an artist residence and have people come work with us in this big woodworking factory that we were renting at the time. It was going to be torn down for a highway to go through in Boissy-Saint-Léger where we live, and so we were renting that from the government, and we worked a lot in preparing this woodworking factory as well as the house, and then
The house was the most beautiful house I've ever seen in terms of the paint. It was just amazing. The colors were, it was like,
incredible. Oh yeah, it was incredible, and so we really put our heart and soul into this, all this, and we had that experience, and we lived that about 2 years, and then the government decided, well, it was, you know, the powers that be that decided that this was not meant to be, and we were not meant to have this as an artist residence, so we had to leave, and now the house is still standing, and the woodworking factory is still there.
makes me sad just thinking about that.
But you know what's amazing is I really have come full circle with that story, and I just feel like to have that amazing experience was really and was such it was kind of a turning point in my life, because it really made me start painting abstracts and painting big abstracts. So had I not had that experience, I wouldn't be doing that today. So it really is a blessing in disguise, and I really kind of chalk that up to experience and say, well, if you know, we weren't meant to keep doing that project, and now we've switched and we're working on other projects. So it's okay.
It's great. I'm glad to hear that, and we're looking forward to hearing about more of these projects. Please come back whenever you like to ACP today. Monica, it was so great to talk to you and to hear about
Thanks,
your work.
Monica.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Well, in a few minutes we'll be talking to Peter Bannister about the upcoming conclave. Of course, they're